And we're not the least bit bitter that you beat us out for best podcast.
Well, here's the interesting thing. You sound bitter.
You sound bitter, Paul.
Not bitter at all.
The views and opinions expressed by our guests are their own and do not reflect the views, positions, or endorsements of the Skittle Squad Podcast or its hosts.
Welcome to the Skittle Squad Podcast. My name is David Smith, and I'm here with my fantastic co-host.
I'm Paul Piper.
Happy New Year,
Happy
Paul.
New Year.
How are you?
Yay, I'm good. How are you?
Good. So it's the new year.
It is.
I feel like we have done a lot over the last 30 days.
I think we have done a lot over the last 30 days. I'm like exhausted and I got to go back to work tomorrow. Yay.
Yay. I know you're very excited for that. Any New Year's resolutions?
I don't usually make I used to make New Year's resolutions a lot.
Uh-huh.
And then I end up breaking them like before the month is over. So finally I got to a point where I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do that anymore. So I'm not like, I don't have any formal New Year's resolutions.
Right.
Do
No
you
formal.
have any?
I would say more sex. I would say I would like to lose like 10 more pounds. I would like to continue being employed.
Well, that's a good one. Yes.
So, I mean, I'd like to continue. I go to Orange Theory, so I'd like to continue my 3 days a week classes there. But those are kind of like, so I know you don't have resolutions, but any goals for 2026? And obviously,
well, I'm also on the weight loss journey too, like you are. So
yeah, you're looking absolutely fabulous.
I've lost 28 pounds.
Congratulations.
So far. Yeah,
That's great.
It's been a while since I've been in the 180s because I started at 215.
Oh, wow.
So, I'm like, whoa, I can't believe that I can actually, start wearing clothes that aren't.
I know. It's so fun when you find those clothes.
I know.
I mean, because, I'm like, I don't know what the terminology is, but everyone will, I'm sure, understand is when you're fluctuating with your weight all the time, you have different wardrobes.
Yeah.
So you have kind of like the heavier wardrobe, kind of like the middle, and then you have the thin. So it's so fun when those thin clothes can come out and you can start wearing those again.
That's why I'm waiting until I get down to my goal weight before I take a trip to Atlas and
buy
the store out. Yeah.
Yeah, we should do an Atlas shopping trip.
Yeah. For sure.
Ching, ching.
Yeah. But that's a great place and they have great clothes. So I just want to make sure I don't want to buy clothes that are going to end up being too big on me later on. So I'm waiting until I hit my goal weight and then.
Yeah, I will say, I do like to try to buy new clothes when we film from Atlas. And most of those clothes I bought last year just don't fit anymore. But Tony
too big.
From Atlas,
They're
too big now. But Tony from Atlas was saying you could get them tailored. So I may get some tailored.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because, they do have an amazing variety of different types of clothes.
Shout out to our friends at Atlas.
Yeah, for sure. We also have a lot of goals and a lot of fun things coming up for the podcast.
We do.
Changes. We'll be doing some remotes again.
Yeah.
We know we will be filming February 15th at the Street Festival for Winter Pride. And so that's going to be really exciting. If you are at the Street Festival, please stop by. We'll have a wheel where people can spin for prizes. We'll have our crew there. We'll be filming with prior guests, kind of doing check-ins with everyone. Yeah. Hey, what have you been up to?
What have you been
you're
doing
on the
since
show?
you're on the show? Yep.
How has that impacted, you going forward? We've got some fun stories. I know Scott Simon has some fun stories for us ever since he was on the show too.
Yeah, that's great.
A lot of fun stuff coming up. And then, more remotes.
More remotes.
And we also are kind of thinking a little bit about maybe doing a Skittle Squad Cocktail Club.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that?
I'm excited about that, actually, because it's a great way to get people together and hang out and get to know people and have more of an informal conversation with folks versus, the more formality of a podcast type situation.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great idea, and I'm looking forward to the first one once we get it going. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That'll be something we're doing. I'm excited to kind of get former guests that have filmed with us, with new upcoming guests. And again, it's all about that networking, that collaboration. Yeah. St. Pete, Tampa Bay area in general, it's so special. There's so much happening.
There is.
It's a very, I don't want to say LGBTQ bubble, but I think it is a little bit of we do have a little bit of a bubble here.
It's a community.
It's a great community.
Yeah.
I think a lot of cities this size don't have that.
Right.
I went up north for the holidays, and I was watching the show with my sister and brother-in-law, and they watched the show. And of course, they loved it, and I were kind of chatting about it afterwards, and I kind of looked at them and I'm like, oh my gosh.
But they love me more, right?
Your name didn't come up, but I'm sure if we asked them, they would say they loved you more.
Because we know I'm the star of the show.
Yeah, I would say, what did you say? You refer to yourself as Gail typically, right?
No, I'm the Oprah. Get it right. I'm the Oprah. You're the Gail.
Okay,
yeah,
got it.
Yeah, we got to get it right.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I just can't remember that. But I was joking with them. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, I feel like where I live is really gay compared to like the rest of the world.
No, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always going to be like San Francisco and New York and Chicago are probably like out gay.
Yeah. Well, I even lived in Miami for all those years.
Oh, yeah.
And it's funny because it doesn't, even with a larger city, it doesn't have that gay community. Mm-hmm. There's, some very small circles. Maybe it doesn't happen because it's a really transient city. But
it's possible.
Yeah, I just love the community here. I think everyone's always trying to uplift and support.
Yeah, and it's great because every time you go somewhere, you'll run into somebody that that you haven't seen, in a while, and it's like, yay,
Like we ran into Daddy Lance on the New Year's Eve party.
I know, and we hadn't seen him, or I hadn't seen him since I think Kick Up Your Heels was the last time I saw.
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah, was the last time I saw him. Yeah.
And I know we filmed with him probably last summer.
Yeah.
And I love Daddy Lance because he just is out there. He just says, I'm a sex worker. The holidays were slow. People don't have time for sex during the holidays. And things are picking up. I mean, he did. I mean, I'm kind of summarizing.
Who doesn't have time for sex over the holidays? Is it because you're eating so much? What is the reason behind
I think people just get busy with their, holiday parties, gift wrapping, Christmas shopping.
Yeah.
If you've got kids, Santa Claus is coming to town soon. You've got to prepare with Santa. I mean, now we don't have kids, but I was in Cleveland. We were talking about the Elf on the Shelf.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
When my sister, and Andrea, if you're watching, make sure the kids don't hear this, but my sister, when she's moving the elf for the kids every day, she has to use tongs. Because if the kids see her touching the elf by accident, if they catch her moving it, the elf is dead. I mean, the elf goes back to the North Pole.
Is it that serious?
It's that serious.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
See, I didn't have elf on the...
Elf on the
Did we not have elf on the shelf?
I think Elf on the Shelf, if I had to make a guess, came out, I want to say between 5 and 10 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. For you, might have been a little bit longer than when you were a kid.
Hey, anyway. So, moving right along. But no, holiday parties, there's a lot of work that goes into that because we threw a holiday
you and Rick
open
threw
house.
an amazing, it was a retirement for Rick / holiday party.
Open house. And that was a lot of work. I mean, Rick cooked for weeks.
He did. Those cookies were absolutely amazing.
Yeah. He cooked a long time for it. Mm-hmm. I did not have to empty the dishwasher 586 times because I bribed my housekeeper to...
Shelly. Yes, I met Shelly at your holiday party and I was like, I finally have a face with the name. Mm-hmm. That was so great.
She's fantastic.
So, she was really great.
Yeah. So it's a lot of work though. I mean, you got to... make sure everything is clean and ready to go. So,
well, we'll wrap it up. One thing I will just mention really quick, and then we'll wrap up and bring on Shane McCabe, our guest, and stay tuned. He'll be on with us in just a moment. Is I got to meet your hairdresser, Lisa.
Oh, yeah, Lisa.
So shout out to Lisa. Thank you for being a great
and she's a fan
supporter.
Too.
Yeah, she's been really great. And I feel like you're really kind of keeping a secret from me. I didn't know this woman existed.
Yeah.
And so when I met her, I felt like kind of privileged. I was like, wow.
I have an old entourage, don't you know? It's like I have a hairdresser, I have a house cleaner.
Gail would. Gail would have an entourage.
Oprah would.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap up and stay tuned. We'll be chatting with Shane McCabe here in just a moment.
Like, follow, and subscribe to the Skittle Squad Podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and all social media platforms.
Welcome back. Today's guest is doing it all, from planning some of the biggest sporting events in the country to hosting a Best of the Bay winning podcast, Necessary Pursuit, recognized by Creative Loafing. It started as a quarantine book idea and became a multi-season interview series. Please welcome Shane McCabe. Welcome.
Hey, Shane.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a long time coming.
I know. I feel like we've both been so busy. You guys have been a lot busier than I have been with your interview processes, but I've been traveling a lot with work and I've just been trying to get here. So I'm excited to be here.
We're so excited to have you on today. So maybe tell folks, just to get started, a little bit about the podcast.
The podcast started 2023.
Okay.
September of 2023. And I try and do like a 6-month intermission or 6-month sessions or my one season. So I do from like September to like February-ish. And that is sort of one whole season for me. Then I take some time off and take some ideas of who I want to talk to or I want to kind of pursue and get their story on my podcast with my interview process. And then I start back up around August and then start recording in September and then go through the fall seasons.
Okay.
It started really during quarantine. I wanted to write I was sitting home, had nothing to do. I was off of work, had no clue when I was going back to work. And I wanted to I started to write journals pretty much about women in my life. For some reason, I felt like that was a great time to write about women. It was during a lot of the Hollywood Me Too movement. And like it was a hot topic for sure at that time.
Yeah, the Me Too was a big.
When we were all quarantined and everybody was hearing about it on the news before, during, and after that, it's still relevant.
Yeah.
But I thought, what better time to write down my thoughts and get some things on paper about the women in my life that inspired me, whether it's a mother, an aunt, a cousin, a friend, a coworker, whoever it was. So I started to write individual chapters about these women and just start jotting notes down. And some chapters came quick and some took a little bit longer. And then I went back to work. So work took back over and I went back, I was working at the Hard Rock at the time in Tampa, and that was a full-time back to the job, no time for anything else kind of work, I would say maybe a year after that, I remember I met with some friends. We were at a happy hour in Ybor, and I started talking about this book just casually. And I said, I would love to make it a podcast. I would love to like create these chapters, talk about all these chapters and create some type of platform where I can tell individual stories about either these women and then eventually get to talking about men or whoever it is in my life. And that's what happened.
Oh my God. That's
so
exciting.
I took their stories that I originally wanted to just write about. And I reached out to some of these women and some of them did not want to be on the podcast. They didn't want to tell their story, which is fine. But a lot of them did. Most of them did. And it just transpired from there. Season 1 was all the women. Season 2 was all the men that I've ever worked with or I've had in my life in some way, shape, or form that somewhat inspired me and they had a great story to tell. And I just started talking to them about their careers and what their pursuits were in life and family and work and travel and all the things. And some people start with nothing and get to these incredible heights in their career. And that's the premise of the story, is just to kind of hear how they got there and who helped them.
And we're not the least bit bitter that you beat us out for best podcast.
Well, here's the interesting thing. You sound bitter.
You sound bitter, Paul.
Not bitter at all.
So for
Paul
folks,
sounds bitter.
So for folks that may not know, There was best podcast for Best of the Bay Creative Loafing, and we came in second.
You did,
and you came in first. So congratulations!
Thank you.
So does that mean we're going to be competing together again next year?
Sure. I mean, I will tell you that last year I came in as a finalist as well, and then this year I came out on the top position. So it could be a battle royale in 2026. I don't know.
That sounds like a challenge.
Right? It does sound like a challenge, but here's the thing. When you're second place, there's only one place to go up.
Correct.
And then when you're first place, there's only one place you can go.
Yeah, that's true.
Is on a national platform? No. Somebody's going to buy my podcast?
Exactly.
Right. iHeartRadio, if you're listening. No.
Serious.
Right.
So anyway, congratulations again. Obviously,
Thank you.
we're just. Well, Paul did sound a little bit better.
No, I'm joking.
It's fun though. Like, and that's the
thing. It is
like,
fun. Yeah.
You guys have worked your careers, and you do. You're outside of this life every day. For me, that's how it started. I had a career that was put on hold, put on pause, as Dorinda says. Everything was put on pause.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, from the Real Housewives.
From the Real Housewives. Yes. We love Dorinda. And moving back into my role, my full-time job, I was like, well, how do I navigate this? How do I make what I really want to do as a hobby really more fun? And how do I elevate it? So I was like, well, I'm going to buy some microphones and do this podcast.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the podcast. So, you always have that challenge of scheduling people. Maybe there's a last minute cancellation.
Sure.
Like what maybe is your recipe maybe for like a quality interview? Like what components are you looking for? Are you pretty unstructured or? It's
pretty unstructured. I will send out, if I know the person well enough, I don't send out a full questionnaire like, hey, let's hit these bullets. But if I like sort of know the person casually or socially, or if I've worked with them in the past and I reach back out to them, I've interviewed people like professors of mine from college. I graduated college in 2009. So, I mean, I haven't seen these people in 15 plus years, but I know a lot about them. So I'll send them the kind of questionnaire. But people that I don't know that are professionals in the Tampa Bay area or people in the hospitality world where I work, I will reach out to them and kind of get a background from them, to find out where, just on paper, so I can kind of get an idea of where they've come from and how they've got to where they're at. And then the story kind of unravels because I know how to navigate the conversation.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. There's a little bit, I think, preparation that goes in behind the scenes that folks just don't see.
Yeah, it's not a ton of, for me, I just feel like I love to talk. So I could talk to you guys for 3 hours here about whatever you want to talk about. But for me, I try and keep it to a time frame. I try and keep it somewhat scheduled, but not scripted. And I'm sure you're the same way. We didn't come here today with a full script in front of us. You guys have your notes, and I have what I think I might want to talk about. But
yeah, so tell us a little bit. What else do you want to talk about? Any favorite guests that you've had on, or?
Yeah, I've had some interesting guests on, people that I've known. Like I said, the first season was all females. And we've talked about our friend Esme Russell.
Oh, I love Esme. Yes.
Esme actually married me. She's incredible woman here in the Tampa Bay area. But she was my first guest on the podcast. And it meant a lot for me to, it was kind of like, should I ask her? Is she going to do it? And then when I did ask her, she was obviously more than happy to do it. We were getting very close at the time. She was about to marry us. She just became ordained.
Oh, that's exciting.
So she did the podcast. We recorded it in my friend Elvis's studio in Seminole Heights. And not Elvis Presley.
I was just going to say Elvis.
Whose birthday is next week, by the way. We love Elvis Presley, R.I.P. But my friend Elvis Arias has a hair studio in Seminole Heights on Central Avenue.
Oh, okay.
He's actually been nominated for Best Hairstylist before. Yeah, he's incredible. But we recorded there, and it was just a genuine conversation. And I learned so much about Esme just as a human, because normally you just see these people on stage and they're performing on Bradley's and Cocktail and all over the Tampa Bay area. But to hear her story and then hearing other stories, I don't necessarily ever have an agenda, but I kind of know enough about the person to pull things out of them. So knowing that someone was great at something in their life that inspired them to be a lawyer, or maybe that, like, I want to hear that story. Why did you think that you could be a great teacher? Why did you think you'd be a great restaurant owner? I've interviewed people that talked about owning restaurants, and I've interviewed professors at colleges, like I said, someone that I may have had in my own career, going through college, and kept friendships with these people, but don't know a lot about them.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting because, you do become friends with people, and sometimes you just don't know really who they are.
Yeah. I don't know anything about these people other than I've worked with them.
Right.
You know? I know they have a dog or I know, but like, how did you become the executive of whatever at, you know, this big company? You know, I know your parents didn't do that. So how'd you get there? I just interviewed my current boss actually on this season. And he talked about how he had to move from where he was with his wife at the time. I guess they were recently married and he just wanted to get a fresh start and move. And he was working long hours in hospitality. And he lied to someone in HR. And he told me on my podcast.
Interesting.
And he was like, no, I said, I knew this girl and I didn't know this girl. And they gave him the job interview, even though they know. And he worked at this company for years and years and years. And now he's an executive, you know, like, but not that we want to condone lying. But he told a little white lie to get his foot in the door and it got him somewhere. So it's like, the answer is always no, unless you ask. I say that to my own team that I work with. You're there to do your job. You're there for the business side of it. So you have to ask the questions that some people are afraid to ask. And then if the answer is no, great. The answer is no. We'll pivot, we'll maneuver. But you got to ask questions that, just like in the podcast world, you don't know a lot about people. And if you're afraid to ask those questions, you're never going to get that notoriety. You're never going to get that story.
Well, it's like with Barbara Walters. Like she always ask the questions.
Yeah.
I think she asked Ricky Martin if he was gay.
Yeah.
I mean, she was
and a lot
very
of that
controversial.
too, like it's show business, right? So they have to get those ratings, but like Barbara did it.
Yeah, she did.
Right. And I feel like sometimes you get guests on and you're interviewing them and they reveal something about themselves that you weren't even planning on discussing.
Right.
And then that takes you in a whole
pivots.
different direction with the interview.
Absolutely.
And that's happened to us.
Well,
we had
Vernon Vaden on. He's the general manager of Mr. D's.
Yeah,
and
I love Vernon.
He almost brought me to tears.
I listened to his whole
and
podcast.
I was really taken back. I mean, his story was just so powerful. I was so moved. He's got a great energy.
He does. He's very calm, cool, collected. Yeah. Like he's very approachable, very hospitable. I always say that. Like if you're an approachable person, you're able to talk to someone. That's like the first quality you notice about somebody.
Yeah.
Versus someone who's like, like cold and not wanting to like be forward. I did have a guest, I would say almost cry. It wasn't like a cry session, I would say, but a guest of mine who had a very emotional story to tell. Her son passed away unexpectedly, tragic car accident on the highway in 2020. And since then, I've become very close personal friends with her and her family through my husband. And she has started with her family and group of friends, which now has developed into 5 years of a nonprofit organization raising, I would say at this point, over $100,000. Their local community down in Manatee or Charlotte County, down by between Sarasota and like Port Charlotte. So it's like the Northport area, Inglewood, Lemon Bay High School, that whole area along the Gulf. Spencer Stevens, his name is, he passed away, and her name is Dawn. And I interviewed Dawn to talk about the story. And my goal now is to do a follow-up with Dawn. So Dawn, if you're listening, so I want to hear about this was 2 years ago that I interviewed her. And since then they've raised I think last year they raised 30 or 40,000. This year they raised almost $50,000. And they do one event once a year called Hunks and Heels. And it's in Inglewood, Florida. And it's local businessmen that come out and put on a pair of heels to walk a day in someone else's shoes. Is essentially what it is. But they lip sync and they raise money. And they have a silent auction and it's a whole thing. And in that one night of like 4 or 5 hours, they raise like $50,000.
That's amazing.
It's hundreds of people come out and they sell out. So she was one of my, I would say, all-time favorite guests for the purpose of what she's doing. Her son was gay. He was passionate with his faith. He was a great young man and kind of just coming into his own. He was going to school and had a tragic accident. So they developed this whole thing called Spread Spencer Sparkle, and they raise all this money for him.
Oh, I love that.
That's great.
Spread Spencer Sparkle.
Yeah, and there's a website.
That could be a tongue twister.
Spread Spencer Sparkle. I know, it could be, right? They have a website, though, and they have, social media. You could find them anywhere.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, she was a great guest.
So maybe talk a little bit about, I know, you've got a hospitality background. You work in hospitality, and you get to do some really exciting events.
I do. So my hospitality career started 20 years ago. I was a busser at a local restaurant in my hometown. Became the server, the bar back, the bartender, the host. I did all the roles in the front of house positions, and then eventually started applying for like supervisor roles and assistant manager roles, and then manager, and then ultimately get to where I'm at today. A lot of casino background. So I saw some really great and interesting artists over the years working in hospitality, from Andrea Bocelli to Alicia Keys, and working in their green rooms. It was a lot of fun. It's a lot of high energy, and putting out, I always say you put your best dress in the window. So I would make sure that like that day I looked the part, you know, like if you're going into someone's dressing room, like Keith Urban or whatever, you're making sure you're doing the job tip top shape. Pivoted a little bit 2 years ago. Now I work for a company. We cater on golf courses across the country and sometimes even internationally for the PGA Tour. So it's a lot of fun. I don't do any of the heavy lifting, I would say, in terms of like building structures on golf courses. When you see out on TV, these big white tents,
right?
It's all hospitality for the most part.
Okay.
Food and beverage being served inside, ceremonies happening after, the 18th green, the final putt, that kind of stuff. But I plan a lot of it. And my team is incredible, and they travel across the country, and the team I work with, I should say. And it's a lot of fun. I get to see a lot of interesting things. We do the Super Bowl.
Okay. Any favorite celebrities you've met before? Or?
It's a lot of golfers.
A lot of golfers.
Yeah.
Okay.
When we go to, we've done the F1 race in Texas year over year.
Okay.
So there's some suites there that get some celebrities that come through.
Nice.
And they're just, sometimes the governor will pop in. It just depends on who's, I guess, interested in seeing the F1 race.
Right.
But golfers for sure. I mean, we're very close to a lot of the big names that you would see on television.
Who are the big golfers
quite
now?
often?
Yeah.
Like McElroy is a huge one. I mean, there's a lot of, I guess, people that come out as well into these suites that are former golfers.
Okay.
That I'm not a huge golf fan.
Yeah.
Like I don't even own clubs. I don't golf ever.
Right.
But I'll see these people, and I'll see these, men coming in with, and they've got their wives, and we're feeding them, and there's like different things, and children. And some of my coworkers are like drooling because they're lifetime golf fans. Yeah. And I'm just like, well, I don't really know who these people are, but it's still fun.
Yeah. One of my sisters is a huge golfer. And
oh, really?
I just don't follow. But we were in Napa. I think there was some huge golfing thing going on. And she was like, hey, let's go. And my other sisters and I were like, well, we didn't want to just go drink wine and eat cheese.
See the golfers, yeah.
And she wanted to go, yeah. So anyway, that was fun. And you also have another little side hustle. You bedazzled flasks.
Yes.
So that's exciting.
Yeah, I don't know where it came from. I'm trying to think of I know where it came from. And you would appreciate this. I can't believe I just said I don't know where it came from. So I know we like the Housewives. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Miami Housewives. Do you watch that franchise? Marisol Patton?
Oh, of course.
So Marisol says cockies.
Right.
And she's talking about beverages.
Correct.
Cocktails. And for Christmas, a couple of years ago, I received a flask that is totally bedazzled and rhinestoned and says cockies. And it looks like somebody made it on Etsy. Okay. I don't think it's like a Marisol product. Hopefully, I don't get anybody in trouble for making the Marisol Cockies product. But, somebody made it on Etsy, and it looks like a Cricut machine, like a stencil you would like stick on and then bejewel it, basically. Mm-hmm. And I had some custom waterproof and non-waterproof, like a vinyl sticker made for my own podcast. So I would put on water bottles in the back of a laptop, like just trendy things that you would put the stickers on. And I said, I'm going to make some flasks. And I was giving them out to some of my guests that would come on and interview.
Oh, that's fun.
They came out really well, and I was like, I can sell these. Like, it doesn't take that much time. Mm-hmm. I work from home mostly. I travel a lot, but I thought at nighttime or if I have a slower day, I can work on these things. If it's a weekends, whatever. And I started selling them on Etsy, and I started doing phone cases, just random things because I had a ton of extra rhinestones. Yeah. What else could I put these on? I would put the sticker on there, but then I just made 2 custom ones for a friend of ours out in Haines City. She owns her own business. I put a little logo of her business and then rhinestone the rest of it to match her color scheme. So it's just a fun hobby.
I was going to say, is it maybe a little bit of a Zen meditative
it
type
definitely
also,
is.
As you're kind of just it's very, I'm sure, very precise.
Any performer, and especially in my world, drag queen, my husband's a drag queen, would know what a rhinestoning process takes.
Yeah.
And it's
got to be
super
crazy.
Tedious, a lot of glue, a lot of things just sticking to, you got rhinestones in your carpet. Yeah.
Your glitter file.
No, literally, they're stuck to everything at some point. But
so did you grow up in Tampa area or?
No, I grew up in northeastern Pennsylvania, small town, West Pittston.
And then how long have you been in Tampa Bay?
It'd be 9 years. what's today's date?
January
6th, 4th. I moved here on the 7th.
Oh, okay.
Of January 2017.
Oh, you're almost on your anniversary for 9 years. Yeah. Okay. Because I was going to ask you, because, you do interview different folks in the area. Yeah. And then obviously, like you mentioned, your husband being very involved with the community. What's your take on the Tampa Bay community? Because we were talking about in Hot Topics. I feel like it's a very special community here.
It really is. And people ask, would you ever move or relocate for work? And obviously that's, money talks, bullshit walks.
Right,
the old saying, right?
Yeah.
So I would relocate. Show me how much you're going to pay me. Or what's that going to cost for me to move? But I love Tampa. I don't want to move if I don't have to move. The first time I ever came to Tampa was to interview for the job that I got to move to Tampa. Okay. I was never here before. And when I moved here, my roommate and I at the time, my best friend since kindergarten, came here from northeastern Pennsylvania, and we didn't know anything about it, but we quickly adapted to how it reminds me of Philadelphia in a way where it's a big city but small feel. Mm-hmm. And I always say Philly's like that versus New York or Los Angeles or Miami. It's crazy, right? Traffic and everything else, where we have all that. But it's also and I guess in Philly's like this too, and I grew up in that area around Philadelphia, it's like small communities that all have their own little niche or clique or whatever you want to call it. And I feel like Tampa's like that. We've got Seminole Heights and Ybor and St. Pete. But then the closer you get to the Gulf, you get into those Gulf areas like Madeira Beach and Indian Rocks. They're all such little pockets of locals versus massive amounts of tourism that come through other cities in Florida and other areas of Florida.
Right.
I love Tampa. I think it's the most diverse, community, culture mashup. Mm-hmm. You've got all kinds of people that live here, all kinds of workers that work here, all kinds of, and I guess it's like that everywhere, but all kinds of income thresholds and all kinds of people that just melted into one area.
Yeah.
And we've seen it grow over the last couple of years because everybody came here during quarantine.
I think people are still coming here. They're building.
They are. It's crazy. And there's so many high rises going up, like condominiums in Tampa. And I think it's going to be one of the tallest in the state, the one they're building along Riverwalk in that area.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Right? It's called One Tampa or something like that. I forget what the name is.
It's going to be the tallest building.
Yeah, not one, but it's something with a P.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's a building that they were going to build years ago. And I guess I read about it a little bit. I think that's the same structure that they're going to keep original blueprints and just do their original design, obviously some tweaks and things like that. But it's in the same footprint. It's in what they were going to do, I guess, years and years ago. But now they're finally building it.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I lived in Miami for 20 years and I saw it really explode.
Okay.
And so it's exciting for Tampa Bay, St. Pete, Tampa to see that excitement, that growth. But then it's also no, wait, it's perfect the way it is right now.
Don't make it too big. Yeah. No, I say the same thing. I mean, everything changes, everything grows. I actually went for blood work a couple weeks ago, and the nurse, the woman that was there taking my blood and answering, the questions and stuff like that, asking me, she said, "Oh," and she looked at where I live and she goes, "Where you live," I explained to her, because she grew up in that area. Her parents, I guess, built a home up the street at some point. She said, "Where you live, where that community is in the back there," she said, they used to ride horses there when she was a kid. She's now it's rows of townhouses and condos and all these things. So I was kind of shocked to hear that. But also when I think about it, the space was probably a vacant space along the Hillsborough River. We live in Tampa. They probably did ride horses there, as kids. It was probably just this big open field along the river, which there's parts of it that still are. So it's cool to hear things like that too.
That is really cool to hear. I mean, it's really great for the economy, for jobs. When you see the growth, you see people moving here, but then it's oh my God, traffic and then things like that. Are we going to be dealing with big city issues soon? I hope not. I mean, from Miami, the traffic in Tampa Bay area just seems like paradise.
It's paradise compared to a lot of places. Yeah. I mean, we really have a lot of traffic, but it's not that bad.
Right.
Not in anywhere comparison to try driving up through Disney on
any
day of the week.
Oh,
Atlanta. Oh my God.
Atlanta's worse.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. ATL. Oh my goodness. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Paul, any questions that you have?
I don't think so. I think I'm good on my end.
All right. Well, any final takeaways, Shane? Maybe if you had something you want the audience to take away from our conversation today?
No, I just appreciate it. I always say, and because it's, I guess, the world I work in hospitality, in business, just in general, there's nothing better in business than a good competition because it helps you get better. So I love that you guys were asking me to be on your podcast, right? We both have we're both in the same business. And it's a lot of fun.
It is
and
fun.
It's, ultimately for, I think, both of our groups, it's a hobby for the most part, right? We have a lot of fun with it. It's a lot of conversational topics that we can get out there and do things that we normally wouldn't do in our day-to-day life. So I appreciate you guys asking me to be on, and
it's been really a pleasure to have you come on.
And I love listening to all your podcasts, and it's nice to have some camaraderie, I guess you could say. So there's a lot of podcasts out there, and there's there's a saying, there's a podcaster group that I go to a meeting for once a month. It's a local, and we'll talk about that because we talked about it briefly the other night. Podcasters Association, Florida Podcasters Association, it's called. And there's a gentleman in that group that said something recently where it was almost like a put down that a lot of people say, well, everybody has a podcast, but everybody doesn't have a podcast.
Right.
It sounds like a lot of people have a podcast because it's a trending thing in the last 10 or so years. But the reality is the percentage of people that actually have a podcast put the time in. You guys know how hard it is to produce quality content.
Yeah.
Get good videography, good audio. Things have to be clipped out and put together and all that stuff. And we put the time in and put out quality content. It's hard work. And to get some listeners is the next challenge, right? So, when you book stars like me, no, I'm just kidding. You're going to get all the views. But it's definitely a pleasure to be here. And I appreciate you guys being supportive, and likewise, for vice versa.
That was really well said.
Thank you.
Completely agree with you. We're so excited we could
Thank you.
Have you on the show. And I won't speak for Paul because he did sound a little bit bitter earlier, but
I'm not bitter.
I'm kidding.
Paul shows up to New Year's Eve with a fur coat. He could be bitter.
Yeah, Paul, just for the record, did have a fur coat on during New Year's Eve.
We're all out there freezing at this party.
Would you say that you were a diva that night?
I'm always a diva. What are you talking about?
He's always a diva.
And so for folks, Shane, that want to tune into your podcast, how do they find you online? And
Yep. So everything is on social media also, but in Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. I have 3 seasons out. I'm still recording season 3 right now, which I'm about to wrap up because I start traveling in the spring heavily for work.
Okay.
And like we said, I try and record in the fall and get some quality content, edit it, and then release it as I can. Necessary Pursuit Podcast on Facebook, social media, Instagram, or you can link it through my own, which is Shane Patrick McCabe on Instagram, and then Shane McCabe on Facebook. All my links are together on both of those sites.
Awesome. Cool. Well, it's so good to have you on today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Folks, or Paul, where do you think folks can go and try to reach us?
So if you'd like to be a guest on the Skittle Squad podcast, or you'd like to be a sponsor of the show, you can reach us at contact@theskittlesquad.com.
Shane, thank you so much for being on today.
I really appreciate it.
Everyone, please just follow us on our socials, subscribe to our YouTube. We are here because you are watching, listening, share with your family and friends, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.
Bye.